It's estimated 20% of women in the U.S. have endometriosis. Most view this disease as something that only affects women during their childbearing years. But new research out of Michigan State University's College of Human Medicine found the disease affects females throughout their entire life and can put them at an increased risk of stroke.
On the outside, Catherine Koopmans looks like a healthy mom-to-be. On the inside, she's battling endometriosis.
Well, I've been affected by it with different organs in my body my whole life.
Her symptoms started at age 14 and continued until she was diagnosed at 29.
I had 3 colonoscopies in 9 months because I was having ulcers, but no one could find the reason for them. I ended up probably seeing 10 to 15 doctors in a 9-month period between ERs, University of Chicago. I went to Mayo Clinic, just trying to figure out what was causing all this, and not one doctor mentioned endometriosis.
Catherine isn't alone. Research out of Yale University found it takes about 10 years for a woman to be diagnosed with endometriosis.
It was a long time, a lot of lost time.
And it's that time that has researchers like Stacy Mismer, a professor of obstetrics, gynecology, and reproductive biology at Michigan State University's College of Human Medicine in Grand Rapids, concerned.
Women with endometriosis do have a what we call a chronic inflammatory state. They have elevated inflammation throughout their bodies across their reproductive years, and so inflammation really was the underlying hypothesis for stroke.
Yes, stroke. Mismer just completed a study of 120,000 women that lasted 25 years. She found that the chronic inflammation caused by endometriosis increases the risk of stroke.
Those with endometriosis do have about a 34% higher risk of stroke.
And that risk spans their entire life, from teenagers to menopausal women. Mismer's study suggests endometriosis could be responsible for blockages in the arteries.
We know that with this increased risk of high blood pressure, this increased risk of hypercholesterolemia, that women with endometriosis might have a higher risk of just the plaque and other deposition that's more common to strokes.
Mismer hopes that her study paves the way for medicine to begin looking at women's health as a whole, not separating gynecology from the rest of her body.
We're very siloed in how healthcare works, that a gynecologist may not be thinking about these cardiovascular issues, where a cardiologist might not be thinking about these reproductive and gynecologic issues. But also that's a very important footprint for primary care doctors, family medicine, pediatricians, particularly given that endometriosis and its symptoms arise primarily in adolescents and young women. So often things like heart disease isn't on the radar at that point and really does need to be.
And Catherine agrees.
It affects the whole body and every system of the body.
Catherine isn't just aware of her increased risk of stroke. She's also more aware of the symptoms, which she hopes will help protect her daughter in the future.
So I'm just glad that I can watch for the warning signs and, help early on.
Professor Mismer says the medical care is making steps forward in looking at women from a whole body perspective, because the reality is that girls as young as 12 could begin to show signs of endometriosis, which means they are at a higher risk of stroke, not just later in life, but in their teens or early 20s as well. I have a link to a new documentary about endometriosis on 13onyourside.com.